Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I'm sort of fresh out of the theater. I had a weird one today, guys. Very busy day at work. Then I was doing a bunch of video stuff for She-Hulk coverage. Then all of a sudden, it was like time to go to the movie. And when I'm home, I actually don't rock my glasses that often because I have pretty good eyesight outside of astigmatism, which mostly messes with me at night. And I was in a rush, and I got into the car, and I got on the road, and I was like, oh no, I left my glasses. Now, when the sun's out, not a big deal. When I came out, it was dark, which isn't necessarily a big deal, but it was also raining. So one, it was raining in the kind of way where I couldn't even take the phone out to record anything outside of the theater like I normally do. So I was like, screw it. Got to my car. I was like, I could do it in my car. And then as it was raining, it was like just lightening up enough where I'm like, you know what? I should just try to get home now while visibility is pretty decent. Got home, and now we're here. And I wanted to sit down and talk about this right away. I didn't want to sit down with like the TV in the background like I would normally do a review, because this is going to be like a fresh out the theater review. But I'm glad I got like the extra 15 minutes to just collect my thoughts, because when I walked out of the theater, I was not too happy. And that might shock some of you with this, but hey, if you don't know what we're talking about, why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are sort of fresh out the theater and ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Halloween Ends. And you guys know me, I'm a huge horror junkie, and while The Exorcist was actually my first horror movie, woke up on the couch late one night, everyone was asleep, flipped through the channels, Exorcist came on, I was like 9 or 10, so I said, I'm gonna watch it. And it started me down a path that led me to Halloween, which is my all-time favorite horror movie. What Carpenter does, top to bottom, every end of the production with that movie, it's iconic in every way and created so many things that are, still present in horror movies now. It's a franchise that means a lot to me. Even when you get down to Busta Rhymes spin kicking Michael Myers, like all of the entries are worthy, and this is a worthy entry. Halloween Ends, it's an important piece to this 4-movie arc when you look at the original Halloween, then 2018, which was a phenomenal flick, made Michael Myers scary again, got everybody back on the train, and started to look at this concept of evil and Myers as being more than human, kind of being this boogeyman. And, I thought the first one set all that stuff up great. Kills, dropped the ball a little bit. Mike does some phenomenal stuff in that movie. But the idea of the town, which I appreciated conceptually, just didn't land. And it created for some really awkward and boring stretches in that movie. But I was able to look past it because the Michael Myers stuff was great. I appreciated the swing and knew that, hey, we're going to Ends after this, which that movie writes itself. Whether you want it to be Michael and Laurie both die, Laurie dies, Michael dies, any one of those 3 options work, and there's different routes to take to keep the franchise going, especially with how they have been kind of exploring the idea of evil. And they do more exploring in the world of evil, and conceptually, they're not terrible ideas. Just terrible ideas for this movie. I felt like some of the concepts around how evil can permeate took away from the things that I was really here for this time. And again, it's stuff that I think could be worth exploring, just not in a Halloween Ends movie. And it kind of detracted a little bit from the thing I was here for. And there's a solid hour in the middle of this movie where I was just like constantly going, we're focusing on this, we're doing that. Why aren't, like I was having one of those types of movies, and it was weird to watch because the production value is obviously top notch and high end. David Gordon Green, I think, does an excellent job behind the camera. The opening sequence, holy cow, man. This dude crafts some really nice sequences. Is just outside of like the showdown, which is easily the best thing in the movie. A lot of these other well-crafted sequences don't feel like a Halloween movie. There's a different vibe to the deaths in this flick, and it didn't jive with me. And like I said, after that opening, and before the showdown, like the middle. Just like a lot of things that fell flat for me or just felt wrong in this movie. And honestly, there were times where I felt like it was being a little disrespectful. I wish I could tell you why exactly, but in doing that, I would spoil things. Now, that's the writing. Like, the storyline is really the thing that rubs me the wrong way. And what's crazy is even though it goes down a rabbit hole that really irritated me, it was still set up to save itself. And it didn't. And then that irritated me more. And there's a new character in this movie. Obviously, we have to populate the town and other people that are around, Allison and Lori. But there's like one major issue with this character, and it's his name. It's a character I don't personally like. A lot of the decisions around that character, I bumped into almost all of them. And the character's name is Corey. The thing that drives me the most nuts in this movie has my name. And not just my name, but spelt the same. Like I can shake it off if it's like RY or RI, but REY. I couldn't shake it, and I'm just hearing my name this whole time, and I think it was making me more angry, which is why I appreciate the little drive home, because I could collect my thoughts a little bit. If I would have done this right out of the theater, you might not have seen any C Maniacs when we get to that space. I'm past that a little bit, because me, I can always find things that I appreciate in the movies, but this movie, yeah, like it does a few things where I was just like, I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why we're doing this. And if we're gonna do this, I don't know why we didn't do that. And it was just a lot of swings and misses. Everything outside of the thing that I'm here for and the opening of the movie. Even the ending of the movie. There's like a piece of like the end, which I really appreciate. But there's also another element where I was like, I can't believe you did that. Like, that was just, it was unnecessary and just kind of goofy. And it was upsetting in some ways. But, like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the writing just did not land for me. And it's upsetting because, like I said, David Gordon Green does some wonderful things behind the camera. Unfortunately, he kind of fails himself when it comes to the script, which is co-written by Paul Brad Logan, Chris Bernier, and Danny McBride. I just wish they made different decisions, because the other thing too that you waste besides excellent production value and really solid directing is great performances. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's a legend, and she loves and cares about this character so much, and it always is, you can see and you can feel it in the performance. And Laurie gets to do some different stuff. That's the one thing that I've really liked about this new trilogy, is it's given Curtis a different way to look at Laurie and how she could evolve in a world that doesn't go down the route that the old movies do when they start getting ridiculous. And she just does really wonderful work the whole time. Andy Matichak, same thing. I thought she was a great setup in the first one, underutilized a ton in the second one. We get lots of her, and she gets to juggle a lot more things than she has in the other two movies, and she's really good with it. Like, I think Matichak is a very interesting actor, and like someone I want to see do more. Problem is Allison feels like a completely different character in this movie, and the writing around her plays into the stuff that I didn't like in the movie. And, then of course, obviously you got James Jude Courtney in there as the Shape, Michael Myers. You know what we're getting from those guys, man. The guys who put that mask on, that play that character, they're always fantastic. But again, some story things that I was like, interesting. Now, there's one other character. There's a new character that's brought in to be part of like Laurie and and Allison's story. And he's played by an actor named Rowan Campbell, who is phenomenal. I'd argue after Curtis's performance is probably the best performance in the movie. The problem is he plays Corey Campbell. And Corey is my least favorite thing in the movie. The writing around this character, the things they give this character, it just feels like it should have been in a different movie. And in all honesty, there are times when you're watching the movie like that it feels like a different movie, and I don't think that's a positive when you're talking about Halloween. So this one ended up pretty disappointing for me. But I'm glad I had like 12, 15 minutes to chew on it a little bit so I could calm myself down and appreciate the things that were good. Just most of it didn't work. So let's get the Sea Maniacs up, man. Like I said, a really strong open, a pretty epic close, not end, but close. That's really hindered by everything in between those moments, and some of the choices toward the like after that moment, like the wrap up stuff. I was just like, eh. Although some of it's interesting, and that's the weird thing, is that there's interesting concepts in here that I think work in a different Halloween movie, just not this one. You get wonderful performances from Jamie Lee Curtis, Andy Matichak, Rowan Campbell. But again, story elements around some of those characters didn't really work for me. David Gordon Green does great stuff behind the camera, but when it comes to the writing and that writer's room, they made decisions that I didn't think worked. So for me, I'm gonna go 1.5 out of 5 Sea Maniacs, and that additional half point that would have gotten it to 2 is because the thing that I dislike the most in the movie is a character that has my name, so it feels personal. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just sat there at times and kind of shook my head, and I thought this was a no-brainer kind of movie. So I'm gonna go 1.5 because I was very disappointed tonight. But that being said, I'm gonna shut up before I spoil anything, and I'm asking you guys, what do you think? Are you excited for Halloween Ends? Did I just put a damper on your weekend? How are you planning on watching it if you haven't seen it yet? You're gonna go to the theater? You're gonna watch it on Peacock? And if you have seen it, what'd you think? I actually has a higher, when I last looked, it was only like 250 certified like user reviews, but the user I think was at 62, and even the critics was at 46, which I thought was a lot higher than I would have expected in both categories. So maybe this did work for you. Maybe this was something you liked. If so, please explain why I am wrong. Or at least from your opinion, why I'm wrong, right? Like, everybody's right. It's your own opinion. And it's all subjective. But let me know if you liked it and what was working and why you liked it. And if you didn't like it, are you just sitting in the same boat that I am? Or do you have other things that I missed that maybe I should be paying attention to? Anything you guys got, man, good, bad, indifferent on Halloween Ends goes down below in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime. We're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions. We got Sandman stuff coming up. I got to get into the Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. There'll be some content coming there. Some other movies you want to, be here for that stuff. Show a little love, support the old C-Man. Well, hey, come join the C-Maniac Nation. Super easy. Just jump over there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man, and I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.